But then I said, if he thought animation would be helpful, I didn't mind. I only intended to be at Nintendo 1 or 2 years, but that became 21 years.
Nintendo has solidified its soft power grip on the world. Their name is as synonymous as Disney with children, with many Nintendo employees becoming public figures in their own right. However, there is one individual who solidified their iconic designs, and is all but unknown internationally, an animator who's best buddies with a certain Hayao Miyazaki, and went on to design Mario's cast as we know them today. And that's not all. We'll get into the finer details later, but to start with, who is Yoichi Kotabe? Son of an oil painter and introduced to flipbooks at a young age, he studied at Tokyo University of Arts before realizing there were no artist jobs about, so then he applied to animation studio Toei, albeit he was rejected at first, but gets in by the 60s where he spent several years honing his skills. Eventually he becomes well known for his water animation and character designs.
Yes, but then Hall's Prince of the Sun came out. That's when I got guts with regard to animation.
This was a time where big features ruled, a golden age for Toei, and they amassed some of the finest talent in the industry. These movies left an impact on the medium as we know it. Horace might as well be the proto-Studio Ghibli film, and other features would send ripples. So far they gained the attention of Nintendo decades later.
10 years passed. At first, the company had a great deal of creative enthusiasm, but gradually it came to prioritize profits rather than producing original works. It started looking for popular manga serials and other material to adapt. Even my own desire to create something fresh began to disappear.
When the roses were not smelling as sweet, Toei's talent started jumping ship. Kotabe left by 72, following Miyazaki and Takahata to push pandas, TV anime, and then back to film. By the end of the decade, Kotabe and his wife Reiko Okayama made one of the finest anime movies, Taro the Dragon Boy, a last hurrah for that era, among a bunch of other eventful stuff that we can't get into today. Before severing himself from the anime industry, Yoichi helped an old friend with a passion project.
All of a sudden, Miya-san came up to me and he asked if I could help him out. I agreed without giving it much thought. We talked it over and I whipped off some drawings. Remember the scene where the tentacles reach out? Miya-san had drawn some layouts and I was to trace those to create the keyframes. But it kept turning out lifeless and ruined. So for the first frame of the tentacles, I just used the layout itself. When I saw the finished movie, and what an important scene it was, I was shocked.
I heard Miyazaki-san said you got mad at him.
Of course, it was such an important scene, but he didn't even show me all the storyboards.
I suppose he wanted you to draw that scene.
I used to argue with him quite a bit. Like when we made 3,000 Leagues in Search of Mother, I argued with Mr. Takahata too. Even though we had a precise dramatic structure for a scene, I would go and draw it however I felt like it. Now that I think about it, all we ever did was argue.
So then he split paths with the anime industry over whittling budgets and a lack of inspiration. Ikeda, an ex-Toei director who knows more than most about why Kotabe would benefit Nintendo, got him on board.
As I mentioned, I was free going through a dull period. When I met Ikeda-san in a coffee shop and he asked me if I'd like to join Nintendo.
Maybe he'd worked there for like a year or two. There was a small office not so far from him, so he and his wife didn't have to move out of Tokyo. He didn't know anything about video games, yet accidentally became one of the most important video game character designers. I mean, take that as you will. From a tiny little desk doodling for 21 years, travelling on the weekly to Nintendo's headquarters showing off what he scribbled to Miyamoto.
Only one problem. I'd hardly ever played video games though. The only one I knew was Space Invaders.
Really? Nintendo is really in the hands of Toei Animation's venerable elite.
His first job was to work on Doki Doki Panic, though the limitations meant that a lot of the frames he was drawing, especially for the magic carpet, were, let's say, cut down. Although, as he mentions himself, the more years he spent at Nintendo, the less these limitations became an issue. But he did continue to work with R&D Team 4, and that's how he got the job of redesigning Mario. And he got to define Mario's personality with it. Miyamoto only gave him one rule. Mario doesn't kill. Anything else is on the table. And yet, while he did not flat out create Mario, the design beforehand was inconsistent and warped between each game. Kotabe took Miyamoto's sketch from Super Mario Bros. 1 and transformed it into the Mario we've known for 30 years, if that's in 3D or 2D. And you see that original cover there? I mean, it looks fine, I guess, but then if you look closer, oh god, who are those other people? Oh, that isn't Bowser.
I like Toei Animation's work from around the time of Alakazam the Great, and the ox that appeared in that.
The Ox King, Miyamoto-san, liked the ox, and that's how he imagined Bowser. When you see the packaging art he drew, Bowser does look a bit like an ox, but he still looked like an hippo to me. So I took inspiration from the most aggressive turtle I knew, the Chinese softshell turtle, to redesign it and make him look truly mean.
Peach completely changed. I told him everything I wanted, like how I wanted the eyes to be a little cat-like.
And how she should look stubborn.
Stubborn, but charming.
Kotabe took this Ox King basis, as well as the turtle combo, and made Bowser into the iconic character he is today. And on Peach, he did pretty much the same thing with the design. Where Kotabe's art shines the best is in the manuals. He was a master of designing page layouts. Look at this, just look at it. Before high-tech graphics, where everything looked to scale, you had to use a little bit more imagination. And he brought those characters to life with these illustrations, bringing a great sense of movement and weight. His style defined all the marketing for the plumber, from game ads to curry tie-ins, so you can say that much. It definitely holds a place at Nintendo. Some were so iconic, he literally had to redraw them years later for different ports. As Miyamoto once said, that's right, Kotabe-san turned that into the Mario we see today. He worked on over 30 Mario games in 21 years. That's just pretty impressive. But that's not the only franchise he did work on. His first involvement with this series was an early TV ad in Osaka. But he didn't even know what a Zelda was, he was just there to supervise the animation. Although a couple years later, when Nintendo released Link to the Past, Kotabe was there for the printed artwork. He built up the scale of Hyrule, from its vibrant, huge and dangerous atmosphere, and refined that classic Link. Link started to resemble what we know today. There's the blue shield, the proportions, the Master Sword, the hair color, the stance. Also, look at these manuals. The sheer difference between the first game and Link to the Past speaks for itself. While he didn't redraw the later ports, Capcom artist Suetsugu retained his imagery, showing it to be all but irreplaceable, quite frankly. And the reimagining is great. I'll give him 100% credit there. Moreover, Kotabe gave us the ultimate throwback art in a game that no one around these parts has played, BS Zelda, featured only on the NES's short-lived online service. That's a pretty charming design. And to be fair, I would be remiss if I didn't mention he wasn't completely alone on these Zelda titles. He was working with Koizumi, someone that Miyamoto wanted him to train up, a young but promising little designer.
Oh, I remember you talking about that.
We set out for some field research. I drove a go-kart for the first time and closely observed their structure.
Looking at photos or searching for material on the internet isn't enough. You've got to see the real thing and take it inside yourself. That field trip really paid off when we made Mario Kart.
Yes, thanks to you.
They collabed on Link's Awakening, and the story of that game was pretty much all of Koizumi's design. So that unexpected melancholy and tone of Link's Awakening was thanks to him. Koizumi then went on to be one of Nintendo's brightest. But he only got the job because of Kotabe's approval. He actually interviewed him to some degree. When the third dimension came, of course, Ocarina of Time Link became pretty much the standard of Link now. But his model in-game is quite reminiscent to another little Kotabe design when you think about it. And yet the kicker, the biggest kicker of it all, who do you think designed this? Who designed this modern Link that we know today? Koizumi. So yeah, looking through the years of these designs, I've just remembered that Yoichi is one of my favorite Zelda artists. I like the way he just draws everything, especially his Zelda. He's only second to some of those crazy designs from the Macross character designer, because those, while not used in game, they are stylish as hell. Yet this isn't the only time he helped on someone else's Nintendo IP.
I also helped define Wario's design. His creators had in mind an evil twin of Mario, so I drew him with Bluto in mind, as well as the circus owner in Pinocchio to highlight his evil nature.
So in the millennium, Yoichi supervised many different Wario projects. In fact, his last game at Nintendo was Smooth Moves on the Wii. He had an eye for character supervision, which came from years of animation direction. He'd used those talents specifically to transfer many of these Nintendo properties to 3D, bringing the characters new proportions and supervising that very difficult dimension jump. He didn't even know how to use these programs. He was just there for the support and to use his animation brain.
But that was a fun time. I felt like I became a sculptor. We started with a model, which we spun around, and I'd say, oh, this needs to be chiseled away.
Yes, I remember that. We would watch the model turn around and fix the places you pointed out, and it would rapidly start looking better. I wondered how it worked. It was outside of my area of expertise, so it was like watching magic.
I couldn't move the model myself, so I felt like it was a group effort. I was pressed against the desk, so I thought maybe I was irritating those I worked with.
Yeah, and he shaped a ton of models for different Nintendo games, including the big guy himself, Pokemon. Using the sculpting process, they transferred 151 Pokemon into 3D for the N64 games. Then Kotabe took his talents back to the anime industry for the first time in many years, supervising the Pokemon anime and movies. And he kept doing that beyond the time he left Nintendo in 2007, even though there's a popular conception that he kept working at the company occasionally afterwards, not even for 3D World as far as I can tell. I checked the credits, he is not there. He was succeeded by Higehisa Nakaue, who retained the spirit of what made his art so universal to begin with. A man with a strange sort of butterfly effect over the whole company of Nintendo. One of my favourite stories might be the time where he was playtesting Donkey Kong 64.
I did have a very indirect influence on Donkey Kong 64. To test the game at Nintendo, we had a debug unit, and when you died in-game, we could use its function to go back to the beginning of the section, instead of going back to the start of the level. I borrowed it one day and managed to finish the game, but when Miyamoto learnt that, he was shocked, and he thought it meant that the game was too easy. He made the game harder, and as it turned out, players found it too difficult, and it sold poorly.
So yeah, all those speedrunning nightmares from Donkey Kong, they basically just all exist because he was messing about. After Nintendo, he went on to become a lecturer at Toei Animation and did some freelancing, some exhibitions, and he gave some assistance on the TV show Natsu Sora, a Japanese drama based on the life of his late wife, another legend who deserves far more respect. And continued playing a role in the Pokemon anime up until his sickness. You see, a few years ago, Kotabe fell ill and almost died. While left bedridden, Takahata came to Kotabe and gave him words of encouragement. Kotabe did pull through, but Takahata died a year later. If Kotabe had died, would he have been known or cared about? Would Nintendo send out messages in solidarity? Would they recount his name to the international audience and tell them why they should care? Because for the most part, people don't know his name outside of maybe some places in France. But that's it, Kotabe isn't just important in these games. He's important to the Japanese creative field in general, and he deserves to be recognized next to the Miyamotos and the Miyazakis as a legend. At 83 years old, he's still giving talks to animators all around the world, to this day.
What struck me the most is that as much in animation as in video games, we found a worldwide audience and managed to convey the same feeling that never stopped amazing me. I think what's at stake in both professions is giving life to something.
You could say that our relationship with Kotabe-san is an example of Nintendo's immense good fortune. Kotabe-san, thank you for this memorable conversation today.
Thank you to Takayuki Suzuki. I hope your lecture goes well, as well as Jovin. I also want to thank a couple people who helped on this video, including Fox and Pad, who both did some voice cameos for the project. But once again, I will be asking for your support. If you want to see more videos like this one, Patreon's a good place to go, or send me some money from PayPal, I don't even know. Anyway, I'll be back real soon. I'll catch you then.